What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Thanks for watching. Today we've got Ashley's Isle of Man Green G82 M4 build. We've done a few other things on the car already, but today we're going to be installing these Recaro Podium seats. On top of the Recaro Podiums, we're also going to be installing our G82 M4 roll cage. But before we do that, I want to talk about this seat a little bit. So, what's up guys? We'll get back to the video in a second. Real quick, we wanted to show you what we're going to be doing this year, something new. From now until July 1st, we're going to be offering a $1,000 cash prize. Basically, all you have to do is watch all the videos. In each video, there's going to be around 3 to 6 questions that are pop quiz questions that'll pop up randomly. We'll have a link in the description below of each video. Click that link, submit all the answers that you can. If they're right, they'll count towards the raffle and increase your chances of winning $1,000 by July 1st. So please like, share, and subscribe, and best of luck to you. Back to the video. This is probably one of the craziest seats to have come out in the last couple of years by Recaro. Everyone's been wanting the seat, and it's very, very hard to get a hold of. Ashley somehow was able to get a hold of a set, so he brought it to us for the installation. But I've been wanting a set of these seats, but with the price that they're at, you know, they're definitely worth what you're paying for. I've never actually got to sit in one besides, you know, at shows at Recaro's booth to try it out. So I'm excited to see what this feels like in a car. You can see how thin and light this seat is. I think it weighs around 9-10 pounds with everything out the doors. Yeah, this carbon fiber construction is pretty strong and obviously very light. Let me see if I can sit in it before we mount it in there. Yeah, obviously my legs aren't where they should be at, but that's amazing. As you can see, Ashley's Isle of Man Green M4 is a manual, and again, I don't know why BMW didn't offer a competition in the manual, but I think it's awesome that he got a manual M4. But with that, you got the base seats, so we already got the base seats out, and we're gonna make sure everything's ready, get the hardware onto the seat mount, the side brackets, and then obviously before we do that, we're gonna, So as you can see, Leo's already got the base seats out from the M4. All right, so while Leo has already gotten the base seats out, we're gonna be putting together the floor mount, the side bracket, sliders on the seat outside of the car, obviously, and then we'll get the main hoop of our cage into the car and mounted and bolted together. All right, guys, so while the other stuff's getting assembled outside of the car, I thought I'd talk about Ashley's build on the M4 real quick. We actually first met when we did his cage for his 991 GT3 a couple years ago. So he hit us up after he got the new G82. Even on his GT3, he had BBSs on it. So when he came to us, he asked to get the stud kit and the spacers on. Luckily, these BBSs from our friends over at Supreme Power already had great fitment, but Ashley's got a very, very close attention to detail and obviously for fitment. And you can see here, this thing is right on the dot. So we added, I think, a 5mm in the front, and then he wanted to go 10mm, and then I couldn't even get my finger in before, let alone, like, I can't do it now, because with that amount, we were debating. He's like, dude, am I gonna have to roll the fender? Like, do I cut it out? So obviously he had to get the rear fenders rolled, and he still added a spacer, but it looks great. Let's go underneath the hood. So yeah, that day that he came in for his last appointment, we also installed the carbon fiber Vorsteiner front grille, which makes a huge difference on the front fascia of the car. We also did the Frenched out yellow DRLs in the front headlight. We did the MST open box intakes, and on top of that, we also did downpipes in the car. But for us, I think the most functional thing that we did that day was the CSF G82 front heat exchanger. With all that done for performance, today we're also going to be installing a flex fuel kit. Okay guys, so we get asked a lot, since we do a lot of roll cages for BMWs and a bunch of other chassis. We also do a lot of race seat installs and harness installs, and some of the guys in the office get asked, why do we charge, you know, $150 to do a seat install? And just wanted to show you guys, when you do a race seat install, there's a lot of components and hardware that go into it. On top of that, each different seat has a different type of slider or a side rail. So while we've got Ashley's stuff out, before we assemble it all together, I wanted to go over it. So first place to start when choosing your seat setup is obviously pick the right floor adapter for your car. There's a lot of good brands out there. We make a few custom floor adapters for E92, Chevrolet Camaro, a few cars. After you figure out your floor adapter, the next thing to do is decide whether you want a fixed seat setup or if you want to have sliders. I always go for sliders. That way, you know, depending on where you want to be sitting, what you're wearing that day, your harness setup, that way you can choose whether you want to be more forward, closer to the steering wheel, or a little bit back. And also too, if you're a good friend and you let other people drive your car, then that way they can move the seat. But yes, choose your sliders. And then a quick note, since we are doing Recaros do require the tab or no tab option, so that depends on your seat setup, the seat choice, and the floor adapter you'll be using. This goes on top of the floor adapter, and then on top of that, some seats do require a side mount, and so seats like the Sportster CS are bottom mounted, where you don't have to buy an extra set of side mounts. So obviously these Recaro Podiums have their own specific side mount, and then these go on top of that, and then you've got your seat. So as you can see, there's a bunch of hardware. The other thing that is optional when you're doing your seat choice setup, some floor adapters will come with the bracketry and the holes to put in the seat receptacle or the bottom receiver of the stock seat belt. And then obviously if you're doing a seat setup, you might as well have it set up where if you want to one day put harnesses in, you have your harness mounts already ready to go. And that way you can just clip in your harnesses, or you know, bolt them to the holes that are already bracketed into the seat assembly. So as you can see, there's all the hardware set up. We've got spacers here that Recaro provide depending on the width of the setup. All right, Leo, you ready? Let's put it all together, dude. Yeah. So first moment of truth, finally get to sit in a Podium in a car. It's still loose. That's what she said! In case we need to make some adjustments. So one thing that a few customers have noticed that with race seats and stuff, I just got used to it because I don't like to wear out my race seats or any seats in general. So I noticed that I do this weird thing where I hold my hand on the sill of the car and I hold myself up the other way to not let it rub the seat. So there's a thing someone's noticed, a few people have noticed, and I suggest it so you don't wear out your seats, bolsters and sides. But yeah, this is nice. That rolls so smooth. Yeah. Now, we can't do a full rock test because everything's still loose, just to make sure it's in the right spot. Yeah, everything feels really good. You can see Leo put the factory seatbelt receptacle onto the floor adapter already, and everything is centered. The seat's centered to the steering wheel, and it's in a nice place for the pedals. Yeah, the nice thing about this seat is it's narrow and it's so thin. There's no obstruction to the sides. Here, actually, let me close this door. Yeah. Yeah, this is perfect. What's crazy about this seat is it almost looks uncomfortable, like looking at the pictures, but it's really comfortable. Like, I wouldn't mind driving on a long road trip, you know, like a 5-hour road trip in this seat. But, you know, to each their own. It's definitely a more comfortable seat than my Recaro pole position, surprisingly. But yeah, cool. So we'll take this back out and do final tightening on all the bolts on that, and then check the passenger side. All right, so this passenger is in. Nice. Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'm like 5'9" on a good day, and this is you know, with race seats there's depending on the side brackets and the size of the seat you get, there's a limited amount of adjustment or choice of holes to put the side mounts to, which dictate the height of the seat, but this is pretty nice. So, you still see the road. How does it look, guys? They look so modern, where the other Recaros, I can't think of what they're called right now, but the ones that look like the space shuttle seats, comment below if you guys know what they're called. I can't, it won't come to me. We put them in the very Supreme wide body, so go check out that video and see those seats. But yeah, we still got the rear seat delete that's gonna go in, and then the main hoop of the cage, so stay tuned. guys, she's finally done. Before we go over kind of everything that we did on the car, one thing that I wanted to point out, when you're doing any kind of aftermarket seat, this is one thing we make sure to tell customers about. Your stock seat belt needs to be passed through the actual side of the seat. Otherwise, if you just don't pass it through the seat and it just sits on top, it's not really tensioning anything. You're only getting tension on one side when you put this through. So sometimes I see people or some installs where this receptacle isn't on the side of the seat and everything is over the seat. So this way, when someone's sitting in here, you can imagine it's actually holding your waist the correct and safe way. Otherwise, everything that, you know, when the seatbelt tensions is just tensioning the seat. But yeah, everything is in. We're trying to code out all the airs, the airbag, and the seatbelt codes that come up when you do these seats. Cage is in, rear seat delete is in, so.
Fire.
Yeah? Are you ready?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been waiting my life for this. Yeah. Seat delete, cage, everything. Fire.
All right, guys. So another one. Oh yeah, for sure.
Bye.
They're gonna bring
Definitely.
it around.
Yeah, we'll bring it around.